No spoilers on Croods here. It's right. Okay, before this. So let me refine my range here. Okay, almost there. So here, there's a few moments of this. See here how this scene, there's something weird about it. Not a bad weird, but there's a very specific feel to it. Right there. See what that is? How things kind of feel really dynamic, but also kind of flat. That's a long lens. This is probably like I would say maybe a 200 millimeter lens. It's hard to say exactly, but the lens is so long that it's flattening the image. And what that does is it makes the creature behind them, instead of fading off. So imagine you've got two characters. One goes further back. See how tiny that character is right there? With a long lens, it makes that character, even though they're behind and further, they stay about the same relative size. So you've got this big monster, and it looks bigger. It looks scarier. It also just makes the motion feel different and dynamic in a unique way. Now here, this is a shorter lens. See here how it gets bigger as it jumps towards the camera? So they're using a shorter lens right here. This is probably a longer lens because it's kind of flat. There's no distortion on the horizon. But the scene that I wanted it's right around here. I think it's when she puts the brakes on. Is it here? Or maybe it was a little soon. Yeah, right here. So, where are you? Let's see. Oh, maybe it was earlier. It's very similar to the other scene that I showed. This one is just, they use a long lens. And it's so well done. So that's a long lens right there. Why can't I remember the scene? Might have been the one I pointed out. But I thought there was a better example. Yeah. So here. See how these little creatures seem to be about the same size as the elephant back there? That's that long lens. They're really close to the camera, and then the elephant, instead of being super tiny because it's so far away, it kind of brings it into this flat. Croods 2 is fantastic. If anyone hasn't seen it, highly recommend. It is so good. The animation is fantastic, and just, I really loved it. It was so good. So yeah, I hope that makes sense in terms of the focal length. You can definitely go with both. Like, short lenses will make it more dynamic. Flat, it doesn't mean that it's flat and boring. It's just going to give a different feel, and we want to use those wisely and use them to enhance the scene when we want a specific effect. So let's see, there's another question here. Do you have any tips for animating more than one character? So if you have more than one character in your scene and you're trying to animate a bunch, the biggest thing I would do is focus on, how to say this? This really depends on if the characters are interacting with each other or not. So if you just have two characters in the scene and they are not interacting, they're just like one there, the other one over here, and they're just talking back and forth, I usually just key them at the beginning separately so that they are each doing their own thing and you don't have to match the keys. So on one frame, one guy might move, on the other frame, the other one might move. They don't have to always match their frames. This just makes it easier because sometimes like one character is just going to be sitting still, not doing much, while the other one's gesturing and talking. If you're having to put keys on both characters all the time to match them, it's a nightmare. So just work with them separately and key them that way. If they're interacting, so one person puts their hand on the other, maybe someone's giving someone else a piggyback ride, you have to key them at the same time, or else one person's going to move, then the hand goes back, and then it just makes a mess. In that case, I prioritize the main character. And what I mean by main character isn't like the hero of the film, but the character who is doing the most action. So for example, the one who's giving the piggyback, their keys are going to take a little bit more priority because they are driving the whole action. Then I will add in any extra keys that the other character needs to do. So maybe they hit the other character in the head while they're giving the piggyback. So I'll want to key that properly. So I just look at these key moments and key motions and treat the characters almost like they're one unit. And then if they separate, then we can split it off again. So that's the first thing. The second thing when you're animating multiple characters is you really want to think through how to say this. You want to think of where the focus is going to be. That's going to be a big thing. As soon as you have two characters on the screen, it can be very easy to lose focus and have the audience looking in the wrong spot. So as you're shooting your reference, as you're animating your shot, be very careful of where the audience is looking. So for example, we've got two characters here. We'll say the hands are the characters. If I want the audience to focus over here, and this one's just supposed to be like, so this one's talking, the other one's not really doing anything. But if this one's moving, where do you look? You look at the one that's moving. Suddenly you're not looking at the one you're supposed to. So wherever you want the audience to focus, you want that to be the one that kind of moves and gestures a little bit more. This is a very basic level of this, but that one would be the one that is kind of bigger and doing things. The other one can do small motions, doing a little something, but we still keep the focus here. Now, as soon as I trade off, now this one moves, and that's where our focus goes. So, and we lead the attention of the audience from one to the other as they're talking. We have to pay attention to that. If we start losing the audience, we've lost the point of the shot. So be very aware of that. Now, that is not to say that the one who's talking always has to be moving and the one who's not stays perfectly still. No, there's other techniques we can use, but the core of it is that we need to make sure our focus is correct, that the audience is looking in the right spot. So hopefully that helps. If you have any other specific questions, definitely let me know. So with that, unless there's any other questions, I know some people posted some links of work to take a look at. We can do that in a little bit. Let's see. Okay. I don't know if I missed any questions. If I did, definitely feel free to repost them. So while we're kind of on the topic of multiple characters, animation in 2D in Maya. I wouldn't do 2D animation in Maya. If you want to do 2D animation, I would recommend either Krita, which is a free program. It's totally free, and I think I have a link to it here. Yeah. Oh, did that post? Doesn't look like it. Let me find you the link here. So Krita is a free program. It has some pretty good animation tools in there. And it will allow you to do some good 2D stuff. Aside from that, you also have Clip Studio, which is the drawing program I tend to use. That's pretty good. It is a little bit more expensive, but it's got some decent 2D stuff. If you want to do good 2D, Toon Boom, Harmony, or TV Paint are good, but those are very expensive. Or I would go with Blender. Blender is free and it's got some pretty good 2D control or 2D stuff. Okay, so like Rapunzel series, 2D flat. Okay, so that kind of rigged animation. So in that case, if you're going for rigged animation, which 2D rigged animation, you'll definitely want to look at Toon Boom Harmony. That's kind of the leader right now in that kind of animation. I think TV Paint might have a little bit of it, but Toon Boom is really the one to go to. I think Blender also has a little bit of it, but yeah, it's more of a hand-drawn style. So I would look for that specific style. I would look at Blender or Toon Boom. Now, would the grease pencil count as 2D? Yes, but the grease pencil is so in Maya is so, what would be the right word? It's a grease pencil. It is there to make markings and put notes and not much else. It is not an animation tool. Yeah, it's bad, it's buggy, it's just not great. I really only use it to add markers and to track arcs, things like that. Nothing more. Even to do like 2D effects. So maybe I have a character and I want to like a fire and I want to just draw the flames. I'm not going to do that in Maya. I would just play blast it out and then do it in another program like Krita or Clip Studio or something like that and composite them together. I mean, let's see, because you're converting 3D to grease pencil. Yeah, so in Blender, the grease pencil is really good. The grease pencil in Blender is really good. I've seen a lot of 2D animations that people have done in Blender, and they are really cool. I tried it a little bit. I didn't spend enough time to actually get an understanding of how it works. But yeah, I would recommend Blender or Toon Boom for what you're looking for. If you're wanting to do like 2D hand-drawn, you could go Krita as well, which is just like the old pencil and paper days. So hopefully that helps there. And I was wondering of the overall line of action of multiple characters. Can you use the line of action to direct the audience's eye? Yes. So if you have multiple characters, you want to have the line of action flow between them. And this is the tricky part when you're dealing with multiple characters in a scene, is you are no longer just posing one character or just two characters and they each do their own thing. Both of them have to work in a scene to lead the eye correctly. So since we have Croods open here, let's take a look at this. So in this scene, we've got four characters. We've got the two cavemen, the mammoth, and then this owl bear thing. And just in this one scene, how do we lead the eye? Well, we've got this one here, kind of breaking. His line of action is pretty much a C curve right here. So his line of action is coming through here. Now, we've got the other one. What's his line of action? It's doing this. But if you watch where the line of action leads to the feet, basically. Connects right over there. We've got the owl bear. Its line of action comes forward and then to the eyes, which goes here. Everything is leading to that point. Everything is pointing right in there, which makes it proper and leads our eye. We're not being brought out over here. There's nothing leading our eye screen right. Everything is leading our eye screen left. Yes, the composition is fantastic. So even, let's say here, we'll just pick scenes at random. Line of action of the character going this way, line of action going this way. They meet up in the middle. So that way we create that connection between them. If the line of action of the one creature was going up here and his line of action was going down here, we get a mismatch. Okay, let's pick another one at random with multiple characters. Okay, this is going to be an interesting one. So we've got all of these characters And how do they push this to read correctly? Well, for one, the overall shape of the characters leads our eye. The overall shape is a triangle, which leads our eye upwards to Eep and Grog, the two main characters. These are the ones we want the audience to focus on, right through here. So our eyes are being brought up to that point. Okay, what else? Well, his eyes are looking up. That helps to bring our attention there. The line of action is kind of turning this way. The other two characters, they are looking off to the side. How does that work? Well, they are looking off, and then our eye, instead of just going off into empty space, hits the staff, which brings it up, back, and follows the tusk upwards here. The composition brings our eye back into the top. Even the contrapposto of the brow of the elephant is connecting us between the two characters. If it was the other way, so if it was going down here instead, we would be going down to her collarbone or her chest and then going up into the sky. That's not connecting it correctly. So they are using all of these elements to bring our attention to where we need to look. The line of action of her character comes up, connects through to his line right here. Everything is well composited, or not composited, choreographed and placed. So when you are trying to put multiple characters into a scene, you have to think about all of this. Even here, like we take a scene from this, how do we make sure that the focus is right where it needs to be? Well, one, where is the brightest spot on screen? We are creatures of, we're like magpies. We like shiny things. Bright spots will attract our attention. So for example, I'm the brightest spot on screen right now. If I was to do this, I'm the brightest spot, so the focus goes on me. But even though I'm close to camera, if I did this, where are you going to focus? Do you focus on me still? Or do you start looking around at the background a little bit more? Like, even though I'm the one that's moving and I'm doing stuff, it's harder to focus on me now. Whereas if I bring up the lights again, where do you focus? Brightest spot. So, where's the brightest spot on screen? Right there. In Majora's Mask, that's where you look. I'll turn on the eyes next time and then we'll really focus on it. The brightest spot is the path that they're running on. Okay. So that automatically brings our attention down there. How else do they make it very easy to register what's going on? Well, everything is moving. Right. If you look at the background, everything is lined up in these flat planes. The horizon line, all of these lines, it allows us to very easily focus on the objects going horizontally across. We're trying to look at everything from this edge of the screen all the way to this edge, not one specific point. So the camera and the composition is set up so that we focus across the entire width. So everything's wide, everything's stripped. When we look at the characters, they are all in line. They are not spread out, kind of just dotted across the whole screen. This again makes it very easy to focus on them. So things like that. It is bring that focus where we need to go. Let's see, do we have another scene here? Even this, look at that line of action. Coming in, but it's going forward like that. So it's not going in this way, because that would make kind of a circle and a stopping point. It's going forward to the direction they're running in. Even here. Line of action going out this way, line of action going out that way. Still going forward. So, yeah. Oh, take care, Tara. Hope you have a great night. So, hopefully that makes sense. And this is something I would recommend. Just find any film. So, in this case, we've got the Croods. Let's see, what other film can we bring in super quick? What do I have on hand here? And just look at the composition of a scene that has multiple characters in them, and look at how they position them to bring our eye to where we need to look. So, what do I have here? Let's go with this one. First one that I found. Trolls World Tour. So let's find a scene with multiple characters. That's a little bit more than just a head. I love this film. It's so good. Okay, so we've got this scene here. How do we push the focus on the main character? So he's the focus right now. Any spoilers? No. I'm not going to play too far ahead. So this is basically stuff that you've probably seen in the trailers. I love Trolls. It's so good. If you haven't seen Trolls, I really like the first one. I loved the second one. The second one just, at least for me, it was just so much fun. And the characters, the world they created, oh, beautiful. So how do they lead our eye to him? He's where we should be looking. Well, again, where's the brightest spot on screen? His hat is all one material. It's felt. The brightest spot is right here. Not up here. They don't put a highlight up there. They put an extra light right on that rim of the hat, so our eyes will automatically whoop, go right there. Now from there, we focus on the eyes, which are right underneath that. What else? Well, when we look at all the other characters, look at where they're looking. Everything's bringing our attention right in there. The line of action of her hair brings our eyes right in. Even his line of action here goes down to the rope, which goes up to there. And this is the big thing. A line of action doesn't have to lead directly into the character. So for example, his line doesn't go directly to the main character. It actually goes down to the ground, but it leads to another line which brings our eye to the character. So everything is bringing our eye forward. What else? Let's find another one. Let's not go too far ahead. Okay, so here, line of action of the character we're supposed to be kind of having a conversation with. And we have her eyes. All the eye lines are drawing our attention to where we should be looking. From there, we have line of action. Her line of action leads forward, leads our eye over. His line is kind of going this way, but it connects to her hair, which brings it over and around. He's kind of leaning forward, which kind of brings our eye forward. It's all bring our eyes to her and then to the penny whistle here. So it is a beautiful composition. It works very well. The other thing that they're doing is that they're using the background to help the composition. Look at where the characters are placed on the scene. On all the other characters, you've got this kind of mountain range right here. And then it's like back here, back here, back here. It's all dirt. You've got a mountain range right there. Where's the penny whistle? In the one open area. So that brings our attention right there. Not only that, even the ground is pointing straight to it. So you've got all of these things that are directing our eye exactly where we need to go. Let's take a look at one more. Oh, I love this character. She's so good. So this is using a couple of different techniques that we didn't really talk about earlier. One one that we have talked about is the highlight. So where's the brightest spot? Right there. Where's everything leading us to? Line of action here goes there. Line of action goes there. We've got even the light is creating lines. We've got the stairs creating lines up to the face. You've got this banister, and even the lights here connect. And if we create a line between the lights, they all bring our attention right into the center. And then they are also using depth of field. So, or depth of focus, I should say. So that is basically the background is blurry, which makes the things that aren't in focus. So the things that aren't blurry stay in focus. The things that are fall out of focus. It's the same thing in the background here. It's hard to kind of focus on the things back there because it's so blurry. You can't really make out anything, any specific details back there. If you could, that would be much easier to focus on, maybe that little Pikachu that's just hiding there on the desk there. Or maybe you'll kind of see the Beifong figure right there and kind of focus on her. It would be very easy to get lost in there. The depth of focus, depth of field, makes it so that it falls away. It is manipulation. That's what it is. When we are trying to figure out how to lead the audience's eye, a term for it is manipulation. We are trying to manipulate where the audience will look at any time. And this is very important because we need to make sure that the audience knows exactly what's happening and doesn't miss anything. If they are watching a scene, and let's say in this scene here, we're supposed to be looking at her talking and having this conversation. But if for some reason we're looking over here, just paying attention to something that's like, maybe there's a little spider or something crawling on this rope. It's got a little funny hat on there and it's just doing its own little thing, crawling around, doing a little jig. Are you going to be watching her? Are you going to catch everything that she's saying and doing? No, we're looking at this funny little spider. We don't want that. We want the audience to pay attention to very specific areas. In most cases, that's going to be the character who's talking or doing kind of the lead action. Not always the case. Now, actually, is there a scene where that isn't the case that I can think off the top of my head? Where you'll have a character talking. Oh, this is a beautiful composition. So cool. Very Mad Maxian. Okay, let's take a look at this actually. The animation is so good. So we're supposed to be focusing here. It's so well done. If you haven't seen this, I recommend checking it out. Look at that. We were just talking about this. The dolly zoom. There you go. That's the dolly zoom. Okay. I think it was right. Yeah, so right here. Watch how our eyes change focus. So we cut over. They bring our focus here. He's looking at her right at the end of the scene. So that brings us on the cut. We're already focused on her. Now she's moving. She's doing all of this complex stuff. We're paying attention to her. It's that hand motion gets lost just a little bit. But watch how her motion, she's moving, 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 moving. As he's doing that motion, she stops moving a little bit. See how she holds for just a little bit here? That allows us to kind of go, oh, what's he doing? Before coming back. Yeah, it's a dolly zoom on a doll. Or even here. So she's the one that's talking right now. She's talking, but we're focused on him. So it's that ability to bring focus from one character to another is very important. Even something like this. You now have two characters moving in a scene. We don't want our audiences to be split between them and not know where to look. if we look at her motion, it's very controlled. Her legs are moving. You've got a little overlap in the head, not much else. He is moving a crazy amount. His arms are moving. His legs. I love the walk here. It's so good. And look at the shapes that they create. That arm just bloop. So good. Do yourself a favor, watch this film. It's so funny. But then here he jumps up, he stops moving, and now we get into her faster motion here. I love that smile. So happy. Even the arm pose. So good. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully that clarifies that focus and the line of action between two characters. Let's see. Yeah, the texturing in this movie is fantastic. Like, just you look at the sticks and stones here. The stones are made out of felt. The bark is like some furry material. It's just, it looks like a world that's made out of like arts and craft. It is so good.